Okay folks, over the past year, my channel actually, this community has grown quite a bit. So every so often, I like to make a transparency video just to ensure that people don't have misconceptions about me, and also to ensure that I don't accidentally portray myself as being something that I am not. So first thing is, folks, when I make my videos, a lot of times I will use random photos off the internet to try to illustrate what I'm talking about. And then it strikes me that some people may not know that I am using a random photo off the internet and may think that that photo of whatever is actually my photo. So I have been trying to get into the habit, trying to remember to actually tag that photo saying that it's a internet photo or something like that, just so that you know when you watch the video that that is a random photo off the internet and not my actual photo. And then if I actually show a photo of my stockpiled food or something like that, then again I'm going to try to get in the habit of actually tagging that photo so that you can tell that it's actually mine and not just some random picture off the internet. And also, I do not live on hundreds of acres out in the middle of nowhere. I live in a typical suburb in a typical subdivision. But I do, however, belong to a solid network of guys who do have good skills, and we do have a solid and secure retreat location that we can evacuate to should we have to. And in the near future, I do plan to move to the countryside, but for now, I live in the suburbs. And while I do a lot of gardening videos, please know that I am not a master gardener. I actually consider myself to be a beginner gardener. But when as I'm practicing, as I'm learning, when I learn something, I try to pass it off to you folks who may not know. And I do have over 3 million calories worth of long-term food storage, and the amount of dried foods that I have for long-term food storage is enough to feed my family of 3 for a year at, I think, right around 2,500 calories per person per day. And I've done other videos about this in the past, but the reason that I conceal my face is because I am just not comfortable with showing and talking about, and again showing, my preps on YouTube for the whole world to see, and then also reveal my identity. So I'm not trying to hide anything nefarious, I'm just trying to practice a little operational security. And occasionally on my videos, you guys will hear me talk about firearms. You'll also hear me say that I'm a certified firearms instructor and use of force instructor through my state's police academy. But please know that I am no super expert on firearms, no super tactical guy. I really only know enough about firearms than the average person who doesn't have the luxury of receiving regular training like I do. Let's put it this way. If you have been a lifelong firearms enthusiast, and if you're regularly going out and taking tactical training through some the kick butt companies that are out there, then you probably actually know more than I do about firearms and firearms training. And I also don't live and breathe firearms either. My budget does not allow me to go out and buy unlimited amounts of ammunition. And unfortunately, as a firearms instructor, I watch other people shoot more than what I'm able to shoot sometimes. But I also don't like to fixate on firearms and security, because there is just so much more about prepping than just that. And while I consider myself to be pretty darn knowledgeable on my state's self-defense laws, and while I've also done a lot of studying on how stress affects a person in the person's body during a violent, stressful situation, please again know that I am no expert. I really only know just a little bit more than the average person out there that doesn't know this kind of information. And as many of you probably already know, I am a police officer for a small police department. And I am no SWAT or any kind of a super tacti-cool guy. And I don't get involved in vehicle pursuits and police action shootings every day either. And actually, as a detective, most of my day is actually spent investigating crimes and abuse and sexual crimes against children. However, in my 17 years of law enforcement now, I have been injured by bad guys. I have been in ugly situations, and I have had to use violence against bad guys to affect the arrest. In fact, one night I had a gentleman that suffered from a mental illness almost choked me unconscious on a dark street in the middle of the night. Luckily, I was able to get out of that situation, but just know that I am not some super macho man who can or who thinks he can kick anybody's butt that's out there. Just know that I am your typical middle-aged cop that worked night shift for years and who neglected his health for much of that time and is now trying to undo that and try to take better care of myself. And what's the old popular saying? We spend the first 40 years of our lives trying to kill ourselves, and then we spend the last 40 years of our lives trying to undo all that. And while I have came very close multiple times in my career to having to shoot somebody, while I've been so close, I've had the slack pulled off of my trigger, I've not been forced yet to reach that point of no return. And I pray that I'm able to make it through the rest of my career without ever having to shoot somebody or take a bad guy's life. And you don't hear me talk about this very much because this is a prepping channel and it's not a political channel or an opinion channel, but I am very old-fashioned in my beliefs. I'm very conservative, and I'm also a devout Christian. Actually, I'm an Orthodox Quaker. So when you don't hear me making very many divisive comments on my channel, and the fact that you rarely, if ever, hear me curse in my videos, that is why. And when I'm out in public and I'm off duty, I definitely don't wear this type of clothing when I'm out in public. I wear just very plain clothing that would never draw attention to me. In actuality, my religious beliefs actually prohibit me from wearing flashy clothes. So all of my tacti-cool clothing is saved for what usually actually when I'm at training. So folks, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't passing myself off as some kind of an expert prepper or some kind of an expert tacti-cool guy. In fact, just please know that I am not an expert in anything. I just believe that I have learned a lot of things in my prepping journey, and as I learn these things, then I try to pass them off to you folks and to the rest of the community. And like I've said in other videos, I learn a ton from you guys with those kick butt comments, tips and tricks and life hacks that you folks leave down in the comment section. So please keep leaving those excellent comments like you do. And if you would like to discover how, after SHTF, but how a marauder could break into your house and leave something behind in your home that could kill you even while you're gone and you return home later while that marauder is gone, but how that marauder can leave something in your home that will kill you, then click on the video that should be appearing in the upper right hand corner on the screen about now to learn more about that. And every prepper that may end up in a security role or doing patrols after SHTF needs to know how to work with other armed team members. So to learn a simple technique that you can practice now, then click on the video that should be appearing on the right side of the screen about now to learn more about that. Anyways folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.